Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We're the Wolfins. We are building our second custom dream home, and today in this episode we are going to walk you through our main floor layout and floor plan, and then also what are some of the considerations and what was the thought process of us making some of the key decisions.
So now why don't we walk through the plans?
Yeah, let's do it. We have our entryway kind of dead center right in the middle of our house.
It's called the center hall plan.
Center hall plan, exactly.
Yes.
When you walk into the house, one thing that was really important to us is to have closets. We wanted to have closets that are within reach. We live in Canada, there's winter boots, winter coats, you come in with purses, you want to be able to put your things down somewhere. And rather than doing kind of one chunky closet, we decided to break it up into two separate closets that would then frame our very first room, our living room. And that would just really create a little bit more openness and better sight lines into some of the rooms.
And on your right, you would have the closets, and you would have a nice view into your living room, and the living room fireplace would be centered in between the two closets.
So our first room on the right is the living room, which is kind of one of the more formal rooms in the house. But this room gets a lot of really good real estate because we built a massive window that spans almost like 75% of that room, just to bring in a ton of sunlight and just to have a really open, kind of welcoming, cozy, warm, and sunny place in our living room. Next room that's immediately adjacent to the living room is the dining room. Again, the dining room and living room being our more formal rooms in the house, our formal entertainment spaces. We really wanted them to be together to make sure that when you have a lot of guests, you can have additional entertainment space. And we wanted to make sure that we could put a nice long table there to be able to host dinners with a lot of guests. We wanted to make sure that we can seat at least 12 people comfortably, but ideally even more. And then when we have really big parties, we wanted to make sure that we have space to overflow and add an extra table if we wanted.
Into the hallway, basically.
Into the hallway, yeah. Basically, the way that our floor plan makes sense. This is really one area where we sort of battled a little bit with some of the divisions because our dining room and our living room are basically the same length. But we ended up giving our dining room a little bit more width because we wanted to make sure that we can comfortably have a table with chairs that are pulled out and with walking space behind the chairs as well, even if it meant going a little bit more shallow on our living room. And then same thing with our hallway. It's also very important the type of feel that you have when you walk from your front entry. So we wanted to have a generous, still grand feeling in our hallway, but without taking too much away from our dining room and living room. So we really kind of battled sort of where we want to, a few inches here, a few inches there, make sure that we have a generous dining room, but still a grand open feel for our walkway and hallway. And then guys, to one of the most important parts of...
Probably the most important part.
...of the whole house, and especially the main floor for us, is our wine cellar. We labored a lot over where we want to place it and really what would be the place where we would get the most amount of value and kind of bang for our buck out of.
Yeah, basically the greatest impact.
Exactly.
You know, we tried in a bunch of different places, but ultimately we wanted something to be in a spot where you kind of see it from everywhere on the main floor. So this is ultimately the place where we landed on, and we think we hit a home run with it.
Yeah.
So at the back of our house, we have our great room, which is basically the kitchen, the breakfast area, and the family room. We really wanted that to be one open space.
Honestly, this is where we probably spend like 80% of our time.
At least.
So it's really functional. We really wanted to have those clear sight lines. If I'm doing stuff in the kitchen, I didn't really want to feel like I'm excluded from what's happening in the family room, or, if I'm kind of in the middle of a show and I need to get something done in the kitchen that I can't continue that. So I really
watch TV anymore? Who's time for TV
doesn't happen anymore. But
we got a YouTube channel now.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time.
But basically, I really wanted to make sure that the way that we position it is so that we still have our TV kind of on this wall with our fireplace, and it's very cozy, and the couch is in front of it, and then we could still continue what we're doing in the kitchen, and it just feels like it's part of the same room.
Yeah.
And if ever we wanted to watch a show while we're eating, which does happen sometimes, let's be honest, the flow works. And even something like the island, we were deliberating about do we want to place the island kind of this way, or do we want to place it this way, and what sort of made more sense within the kitchen. And I think that even if maybe we could have gotten a bigger island by placing it in the same direction as kind of the length of the kitchen, it would have made it a little bit tougher for when you're doing the prep, because then you're not facing your great room and your family room. So this is why we had chosen to position our island facing this way, so we could do our prep and our cooking and still have those open sight lines and kind of be present and part of the greater room. And also, you know, when thinking of the placement for our kitchen, it was really important to us that it's very close to the dining room, because again, you want to think about when you're serving certain things or when you're cleaning certain things after a meal. It's really ideal if you can get them closer together. You don't want your dining room to be sort of at the opposite end of the house of the kitchen. And to facilitate that and make that even easier, we actually placed a pocket door that we can close when we don't use it and when we don't want kind of the mess of the kitchen showing into the dining room. But then when we want to clear things up or lay things on the table, that just gives us some easier access between the two different rooms.
Now that leaves us with the other 3 rooms that we have left on our main floor. So, you know, when you come in through the garage, we have a really nice, you know, mudroom here. It's not huge, but it's more than big enough, you know, to have exactly to sort of serve the purpose. Right beside our mudroom, we have our powder room. It's roughly a 5 by 6 foot powder room.
I personally really don't like it when powder rooms are placed in kind of busy areas, like some are close to a kitchen or some are close to a dining room. Your powder room does not need to be part of your kitchen and dining and living space.
We don't need to shit where we eat, okay? Let's be honest.
Exactly. So I really wanted the powder room to be outside of some of these key living spaces, so it's a little more inconspicuous.
And then last but not least, the office.
Yeah, Josh's office.
You know, so my office is basically a 10 by 10 foot square. Don't need a huge office, but just, you know, just something that's big and big enough.
Yeah.
You know, to fit a desk and a computer.
And again, thinking about you know, what you would ideally like in an office, you want it to be bright because you want to be productive. Basically, anytime you could be on an exterior wall so that you could place windows and get natural light. So Josh was able to score some really great real estate on the main floor by getting literally a corner office with a walkway into the backyard.
Nice.
So,
corner office in my own house. It's good. I did it.
You made it, babe.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things we kind of ended up with is when you see the layout of the house, we have our formal rooms kind of placed together in one area, and when we don't host and don't entertain, we sort of don't use them as much, and then most of the living kind of happens in sort of this part of the house, and it's all together, it's close, it kind of just makes sense for us.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. That's our main floor.
We forgot one important thing. The staircase. And this is exactly.
That really wasn't planned, I promise.
That actually was not planned. But this is exactly what happened in our design process. We thought of every other single room, and then we're like, oh shoot, where do we put the staircase?
The challenge was when figuring out our floor plans, we would say, okay, this bubble goes here, this puzzle piece goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here, and then we continuously forgot about the stairs.
Yes.
But, you know, at the end of the day, I think we came up with something that makes a lot of sense, not only for our main floor layout, but also, you know, walking upstairs and figuring out something for our second floor layout.
So at the end, we placed it in a place that makes a lot of sense, actually has a great sight line into the wine cellar, which is nice. So as you go down the stairs, you have some great eye candy to look at. And it kind of just makes sense because it brings you right into your main living space, into the family room. So it ended up working really well for us, but you know, it's something you should definitely think about because it has a lot of implications for your floors and for the overall flow of the house. So it's just about thinking of how you live and what is important to you in your day-to-day life and making sure that you build your space to accommodate that. Okay guys, so this sums it up for our main floor layout and floor plan. But follow along on our next episode. We will share the floor plans for the rest of the house. We will go into the details of the second floor, our basement. Please subscribe to our channel. Like our videos, share your comments, let us know what you think of our main floor plans, and we will see you next time.